Hello, I'd like to welcome everyone to our reception here. This is our Airport Minority Advisory Council 2015 Industry Day reception. We are so happy that you have taken the time out of your busy schedules today to join us, which will give us an opportunity to just give a brief thank you to some of our leaders in the industry who have been the forefront and advocates for us. So we're just so glad that you're here. My name is Rhonda Arnold. I'm the chair of the Southwest Regional area, which covers Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas, and New Mexico. And I'm very glad to be here. We've had this industry day for more than 10 years, and it promotes and encourages membership, and we need the guidance of our congressional members to help us to discuss and determine some of the activities and ordinances and laws that we need in order to make sure that minorities are included in the process here on the Hill as well as in the aviation industry. And the reason why we need you here on the Hill is because the FAA handles a lot of our aviation issues, and we want to make sure that we're partners with you. I'd like to just say a brief introduction of our wonderful chair that's here, Daryl Daniels. He's the chairman of the board for the Aviation Advisory Council. And our wonderful president, Ms. Shelby Scales, is here, and she's going to make a brief comment, and I'll be back with you.
And thank all of you. We really appreciate you being here this week and investing in the time to really be on Capitol Hill, as well as meet with many of our stakeholders today and tomorrow and also into Thursday. And I'm just so proud to see the North Carolina delegates in the House tonight, G.K. Butterfield and also Adams. I'm so glad to see you all here. Thank you. Many of you have come from all over the country. We have some members as far as Hawaii here with us, so we're very proud to put on a good program for you over the next couple of days. And thank you, Jill Manifer, our events planner, for putting together our reception, all of our sponsors, who I see a few in the room as well. So again, we just hope that you're enjoying the next couple of days. Look forward to working with you all day tomorrow. So please wear comfortable shoes because we'll be on the Hill and moving around quite a bit. But again, thank you for your support. Look forward to seeing you and working with you.
So we just want to do a brief thank you to some of the members who have been advocates for us, particularly the three caucuses. We have the representative here from the Hispanic Caucus, Mr. Pete Gallegos. Ruben Gallegos? I'm sorry. Pete's my, I'm from Texas. I'm sorry.
We'll be back next year.
Okay.
We'll get him back.
Ruben Gallegos. Ruben Gallegos, could you please let everybody see that you're here?
Yep.
Also, representing the Congressional Black Caucus, Mr. Butterfield. And is Ms. Chu here, or her representative? She's on her way. She's on her way. So we just want you to mix and mingle for a little while, and as soon as we... Okay, all right. So, Mr. Butterfield, could you come and make a few comments for us? Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon, one and all. You all picked a hell of a week to come to Washington, I tell you. This is budget week. Anytime we are considering the nation's budget, it's always a very busy week. And so thank you very much for advancing me on the program, and thank you for coming to Washington with your advocacy and your outreach to the members of Congress. Thank you very much. It is my pleasure to again join the Airport Minority Advisory Council. This is not my first visit with you, and certainly will not be my last. I say thank you to President Shelby Scales, whom I've known now for many years, and Farad Ali, both from my district, for inviting me to come and join you this evening. AMAC plays an important role in helping to eliminate the barriers that face women and minority-owned businesses. The growth of minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses has been significant and key to helping strengthen the middle class. Minority-owned businesses have had double-digit sustained job growth over the last decade. At the same time, the number of women-owned businesses has doubled in the last 20 years. That is a good thing. This would not be possible without advocates like yourselves. It is a great honor to be recognized by AMAC as an advocate for diversity and inclusion. I thank you so very much for the award. I will share this award with the members of my staff who really do the heavy lifting in this work. Since becoming chair of the CBC, I have made it my personal mission to see that there's a greater diversity among our nation's Fortune 500 companies at all levels, and you will hear more about this. It is imperative that the boards and senior leadership of our nation's Fortune 500 companies begin to reflect the demographics of our country. Greater diversity in key leadership positions is the only way to see greater diversity among employees, vendors, and contractors. And so my CDC colleagues have joined me in this effort, and we're going to really turn up the volume on corporate diversity in the next 2 years. Speaking of CBC colleagues, I want to introduce to those of you who do not know her yet, Dr. Alma Adams, who is the Congresswoman for the 12th Congressional District of North Carolina, replacing Congressman Mel Ross. I've already been introduced to my colleague from Phoenix. I can't pronounce your last name, but I try hard. I'm from the South. But greater diversity is going to be a keystone of our work. In addition to changing the face of corporate America, we must expand access to capital. Every time I meet with you, that's what you're talking about, access to capital, training and leadership opportunities. We must encourage more minority and women-owned businesses to move into high-growth STEM sectors. We must improve our understanding of challenges facing minority and women-owned businesses by continuing to collect government and private market data. And you can help. The CBC would like to meet with the senior leadership of member companies so that we can articulate our agenda. Encourage your member companies, please, who have not released their diversity data to do so, because we will be calling on them again and again until they release the data. Speak in support of and make the case for greater diversity in your businesses. Our nation's global competitiveness depends on innovation, diversity in the private sector, and a strong middle class. You are a critical part in our effort. Thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you.
On behalf of the Airport Minority Advisory Council, we'd like to offer a small token.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
For the record, it's Congressman Rayburn Gallego, District 7 of Arizona. It's actually great to be here. I've actually worked on this issue since I was a staffer at the City of Phoenix. My first boss was the actual chairman of the Downtown Aviation Subcommittee, which oversaw Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. He was the first Latino city council member of the City of Phoenix in almost 2 decades at that point. And we were very much involved in the concession, we call it concession wars. And it was a great feeling to be able to go up there and assure that the concessions were going to be properly represented by the diversity of the City of Phoenix. And it ends up that one of the side benefits, and something that we had always recommended, is that when you go local and you bring your local vendors in, they end up also being local leaders if they're not already. Many of our local vendors, especially our concession stand owners at the airport, are serving now on different nonprofit boards in the City of Phoenix. There are civic leaders. They're the type of people that we call whenever we have a problem and we need something to stand up for the city or for the citizens. So protecting minority contracting at airports is important, not just because we want diversity, but because we want our cities to be strong, and we want strong civic engagement. When you involve small business owners, minority business owners who tend to live in the cities, in the opportunity that they get at these concession stands, it does pay dividend. And I know now because some of them are my neighbors too, so I can always bother them for, you know, if I need to borrow any of their lawnmowers or anything else like that. They're very nice about it. So we as the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, along with the Tri-Caucus in general, Black Caucus as well as the Asian Caucus, do believe in continuing our efforts at diversity at all levels, both for federal government procurement as well as corporate board and nonprofit board diversity. And we will continue to do that into the future. So any partnership we can join in that pushes that further, we are gladly to join in. So please feel free to use us as a resource. We're here to continue with the goal of diversifying at all levels of our society, and please count us as an ally in that process. So thank you very much, and hope you enjoy some of Washington, D.C., but next time please come in and bring some beautiful weather with you. I'm from Arizona. This is still beautiful. Thank you. Let me show you.
Thank you very much for being here. This is clearly, I know Congressman Butterfield said this is picked a time to be here, but it is a time for you to be here. I mean, we're working on the budget. We need to hear from you. I'm Alma Adams, and I represent the 12th Congressional District in North Carolina. I'm happy to be able to do that, to represent the 750,000 folks in my district, which begins in the northern part, in the Piedmont area where I live in Greensboro, and goes on down south into Charlotte, Mecklenburg. I was sworn in twice. As you know, former Congressman Watt went to do some very special work for the president in housing. And I ran for that seat. I served in the North Carolina House, and I'm glad that Farad texted me a couple of times. I told him I already had this on my agenda. I just want to recognize my Chief of Staff, Rhonda Fox, over there. I was sworn in on the 12th of November as the 100th woman in the 113th Congress. I had double hits all the way because I had a 7-way primary, and actually there were 2 primaries, and so we won both of those. We worked hard, and I want to thank you for your support. But let me just say that I've had the privilege of working with many of you as a member of the North Carolina House. I worked on legislation for the minority businesses so that we could make sure that not only did you have a presence, but that things were fair. I have the privilege of sitting on education and the workforce. I am a retired educator. 40 years I served at Bennett College, 30 years in local government. But diversity is a real key issue for me. I sit on small business right now, and I'm asking the hard questions, and I'm going to make sure that we provide the necessary resources and support for what it is you do. I want to thank you for what you do, because what you do is extremely important. I also want to mention that in addition to small business and education and the workforce, I serve on agriculture and a subcommittee on nutrition and on the Joint Economic Committee. So I have a very full load for a freshman. However, you know, having come to this job with experience, I guess I am an advanced freshman because I was sworn in before other members of my class. So I'm looking forward to working with you. I have had the privilege of organizing a bipartisan HBCU caucus. I taught at Bennett College for 40 years, and so our students, the young people who attend our institutions, and our institutions are very important to me. And education is going to undergird everything that we can do. So I look forward to working with you, and if there's anything that I can do, that you need for me to do, I am a stakeholder person, so I'm interested in what you do, and I'll be listening to not only learn, but also to assist you in any way that I can. Thank you for this opportunity to be here, and thank you all for being here.
Oh my goodness, wasn't that wonderful?
Yes.
We have a special treat in here today. I saw one of the most highly recognized and just a wonderful advocate for the United States, period. The Honorable Elijah Cummings is here, and I'd like for him to come up and say a few words.
Come on, we can do better than that. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to stop by. It's been a very, 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 very busy day. We've been trying to get the Secret Service straight. These boys, we got to teach them how to guard. But I just want to know, your leadership knows that I'm 1,000,000% supportive of what you do. And I want to thank you for what you do. You know, when I go to the airports and I see the opportunities, I always say we need to have more. Amen? Amen. And this is and I realize that what you do is not just about you. This is about expanding opportunities for others and for generations yet unborn. And we're gonna have to continue to fight. I often say that we a lot of times I think we can sleep on our progress. We can sleep on it. And the next thing you know, we don't have what we thought we had. And so the first thing we have to do is guard what we have. And then try to build on it. And it's organizations like this that will make the difference. But let me leave you with one last thing. Every time I come before a group like this, I remind them that the revolution will not be televised. And we're in a revolution right now. This is a revolutionary period. All you got to do is watch my committee, the oversight committee, for a little while. You will see that there's an effort to break unions, to just demolish the opportunity to vote. Let's put a pin in that one. Let's put a pin in it. This effort to take away our votes, we have got to, this is our watch. And we may be the last line of defense. And I know y'all talking about the airport, I'm talking about the vote. Hello. Hello, there you go, no vote, no airport. And so I'm going to continue to do what I have to do on the Transportation Committee to support you all. And when I walked in the door a minute ago, a very nice brother came up to me and said, "Man, I like your politics, Jack, I like your politics." And what I wanted to say to him, it's not about politics for me. This is what I believe. This is what I believe. And we have got to go out there with all the passion that we've got. And look, like I said, protect what we have, but build for somebody for tomorrow. That's what it's all about. And so I'm not going to say, you've got a lot of people that need to talk to y'all, but thank you all for what you do. And this is the greatest man in the world. You got a good one here. I hope y'all, I know you got to have a signing bonus or something. I mean, the brother works hard. But thank you all very much.
What I'd like to, as you know, this is the Tri-Caucus, so we recognize the work of the Congressional Black Caucus. We recognize the support that we received over the years for the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and now we're going to recognize the work and support that we receive from the Asian Pacific, Congressional Asian Pacific Caucus. The chairwoman of that caucus, 40 plus strong, is Congresswoman Judy Chu from California.
Well, it's so great to be here with the Airport Minority Advisory Council, and I'm particularly happy to be here as the chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. We have 48 members, and together with our partners in the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, what we of course call the Tri-Caucus, guess what? We account for over 40% of all the House Democrats. Isn't that something? So we love being a Tri-Caucus because we can be a powerful voice for diversity and inclusion and for the issues that are important to all of us. And that's why I'm so thrilled to be here today as a member of the Small Business Committee and the ranking member of the Subcommittee on Capital Access, we know that small businesses face so many challenges and that contracting, especially with the federal government, isn't what it could be. For instance, the Asian population is 6% of the U.S., and here we are at 6%, yet we have only 1.6% of the federal contracts. And considering the fact that the federal government has $460 billion worth of contracts, what's going on there? Too many people are losing out. And actually, small businesses as a whole really need a boost in our federal contracting. We have a 23% goal, but did you know that only last year was the first time that the federal government actually reached that 23% goal?
Wow.
What's going on with that? So we obviously need more proactive efforts to get small business as a whole to be federal contractors. And that's why I have embarked on several efforts. One is to improve the mentor-protege programs. Mentor-protege programs get the established contractors that are in the federal government to get the new ones to understand what the federal contracting process is like. So we had a bill to house it all in one area so it could be more accessible to small businesses. The other thing that we're doing is working to reverse the trend towards contract bundling. Yeah, did you know that every time there has been contract bundling, for every $100 that is awarded to a bundle contract, there's a $33 decrease to small business? As a result, just this last year, small business lost out on contracts worth $16.9 billion. And there's this trend towards bundling because some federal departments think it's easier just to do this gigantic contract. But of course, the truly small business could never qualify for those gigantic contracts. And the federal government is actually supposed to keep records on how much contract bundling that they do. But guess what? They haven't been doing it, and nobody's been enforcing it. In fact, the one business said that it had been, that they hadn't bundled contracts in 17 years. That's what they actually reported. We know that's not true because it had bundled contracts. So we have to shine a light on how much bundling is going on, and I am happy to report that actually that was implemented in a bill that we had this past year. So hopefully we will get that information. Well, I just thank you because you are raising those voices that will make for more inclusion of minorities and people of color in our federal contracts and in our airports. So we need your voices, and I truly appreciate it. Let's work together and make sure that everybody can achieve the American dream.
On behalf of the Airport Minority Advisory Council, we'd like to offer you a small token of our appreciation. Okay. The Airport Minority Advisory Council Industry Day must be really special, because I'm going to tell you who's in the house right now. The Honorable James Clyburn is in the house. A blessing to have him here. As you know, he's a former majority whip, and that's our Democratic leader, and we're just so honored to have him come. Can you please come say a few words for us?
Thank you very, very much. I apologize for this raspy voice. I bet I'm not trying to turn the clock back at all. But last weekend was an exceptionally busy weekend for me, jumping on and off airplanes, and I had this real problem with recycled air. So I don't feel bad at all. I know I sound a little bad, but I'll get through this. I'm here basically because Bill Kirk has threatened me. With my
Me too.
But let me just say to all of you how much I appreciate what you do. Some of you may be aware that before coming to Congress 23 years ago, my job in the state of South Carolina was to implement, if you can believe this, an affirmative action program for the state of South Carolina. In fact, in 1972, we implemented that program, and I ran it for almost 18 years. We spent a lot of time assisting other states in working through the proper legislation to get the programs going. And of course, I'm a little bit disappointed today because we're not getting the kind of support at the federal or state levels that we ought to be committed to programs such as the ones that made so many of you valuable and valuable to our economic progress going forward. I want to come by today to say to you that we have some challenging times ahead of us. I know you've heard from G.K. Butterfield, who is the current chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. I think you've heard from the other two minority caucuses as well. But let me just say a couple of things to you that we're working on that I think is very, very important. Way back around the time I came to Congress, the affirmative action programs were being challenged, and they were being challenged successfully, largely because many of the states and entities that were carrying out those programs were not doing the kind of work it needed to do in order to lay a foundation for the programs. When we were getting ready to reauthorize the transportation bill, I called on Bill Kirk and I said to Bill that I needed his help because I knew what needed to be done in order to keep those programs alive in the transportation budget. We did the work, and we made the presentation to the Congress. Now, every other bill that had come through with anything that resembled affirmative action or set-asides were absolutely decimated. But because of the diligence, because of the skill of Bill Kirk and my big mouth, I was able to sit down with the Blue Dogs, Charlie Stenholm, that just organized that group. I sat down with the Blue Dogs to explain to them what this program was all about and to get their support in not challenging or raising issues once we got to the floor with the bill. I sat down with the Republican leadership, Bill Schuster, and I said to him that I was willing to help him get his highway up in Pennsylvania if he would work with me in trying to preserve the set-aside program in the transportation bill. He agreed. And working with the Blue Dogs on the right side of the Democrats, with the Republicans, we were able to bring down the bill that had taken out all of the set-aside programs, all of the earmarks, and we're able to put in place legislation that is still there today. Now, the reason we were able to do that is because we sat down together, put aside our personal agenda, worked in order to lay the proper foundation, and we were able to prevail. We are faced with similar challenges today. We're not going to get the programs and the assistance we need just because they're good. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how beneficial to the overall scheme of things that affirmative action and set-aside programs are all about. It's a different climate, the climate that we're working in today. And you and I are going to have to work together to make sure that we lay the proper foundations for getting these programs maintained. Now, I don't know whether or not we're going to do a transportation bill. But let me just say to you, people thought we were not going to do the legislation to fund Homeland Security. They didn't think we were going to do it. All of a sudden we woke up one morning and the program is there. You know, I was born and raised in the parsonage. And although I didn't follow my father into the ministry, I internalized a lot of his sermons. And I always try to live by a mantra, keep your lamps trimmed and burning, so that you will be ready when the bridegroom comes. So let's not spend a whole lot of time speculating as to whether or not it's going to happen. Get your lamps trimmed and burning. We have no idea when the bridegroom is going to come. And we got to be ready for it. Before we leave here tomorrow, or Thursday, what's today? Tuesday, right? Maybe Thursday. I got a funny feeling we're going to do something else that nobody thought we would get done. It's called the Sustainable Growth Rate, SGR, the doctor's fix. We're talking about a $300 to $400 billion program that nobody thought a month ago would get done. I think we're going to do it. How are we doing it? Because the Democrats and the Republicans have quietly come together and work out their differences. And I believe that bill is going to pass before we go on. I really believe we can keep your programs, your set-aside, in the transportation bill when we ever get to it. Why? Because I think that the Speaker of the House now knows that on these big items, we are going to have to set aside our differences. We're going to have to find some common ground, and we're going to get these programs going. And when they sit down at the table, I want your programs to be solid. We want to be able to make the argument that your programs ought to stay intact. And the only way we're going to do that is for us to continue to work together. Now, we aren't going to always agree on how best to do things. I don't always agree with Chuck, but
He always agrees with me.
But Al Green, I do. Alma Adams is back there. I agree. I love Al. These guys I tolerate. But let me tell you something. This is important. It's important. And I really want you all, Eddie Benice is another big avenue for you all that's coming in. There is a big international meeting going on out at National Harbor as I speak on economic development. My son-in-law is out there pretending he knows somebody economic development in here with me tonight. And so I know that we are at a critical stage. Let's get ready. Y'all keep Bill Kirk honest, and I'll make him successful.
We have been this is such a wonderful reception, and I have to bring everyone up because I'm just so overwhelmed with the amount of leaders that decided to come by and grace us with their presence today. So the next person that we have is the Honorable Jacques Patel out of Pennsylvania. So we just want to welcome him. Let's give him an AMAC welcome.
Everything that needs to be said has been said, so I'm going to be extraordinarily brief. But I can tell you that Congressman Schuster is going to be a part of solving these issues, and Bill Kirk and I have been working with the decision and impact player on this. So I think that what our leader has said is correct, that we can win. And I'll just leave you with this, because it's really not about Democrat or Republican. I recall Kwame Nkrumah said, it's not about facing east or west, it's about facing forward. And that's what we ought to do. We're going to do that on your behalf, and we're going to get this job done so that when we come back together again, we'll have something to celebrate. Thank you.
Okay, we're getting close to home. So let's talk about Texas. Let's talk about Texas. So we have the Honorable Al Green from Houston, Texas, that has graced our presence. Come say a few words for us.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other Texans in the house? All right, let's hear for Texas. Thank you very much. And I promise I will be brief. I know the hour is late, and we have the Honorable Eddie Bernice Johnson who will be speaking to you as well, and maybe one or two other members. I totally endorse what the Honorable Jim Clyburn said. He has found a way of working with people when there was no way available to us, ostensibly anyway. And I'm hopeful that working with him we'll be able to do some great things. I do want to mention one other person who's not here, and that's the Honorable Maxine Waters. And I mention her because there was a time when we did not have the Office of Minority and Women Inclusion. And it was a concept that she brought to the Financial Services Committee. At that time, we were under the leadership of the Honorable Barney Frank. And working with the Honorable Barney Frank and others, we were able to get this Office of Minority and Women Inclusion. It is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for people to find a way into government, and then once within, find a way to have what I call upward mobility. She's not here, but because she did such an outstanding job, there were 10 of us who worked with her, and it became a protest movement to a very limited extent. And I think that she merits an expression of appreciation. The Honorable Maxine Waters for her efforts in the conclusion of the office. Thank you.
And I want to take a special privilege of bringing who I call my auntie, Ada Bernice Johnson from Dallas, Texas, the Honorable.
Let me say hello to everyone and simply say that I have been a part of you. I had 2 stores at DSW and 2 at Luffield up until 2010, starting back in the early 80s. And so I know the challenges. And as a matter of fact, the DFW Executive Director or CEO visited me today, and that's the one thing I mentioned to him, is that we had to have the opportunities. I passed the legislation to set the goals back when I was in the Texas Senate, and about 25 years ago, or more. And so I just want to encourage, I see one lady that I helped to get going out of DFW over there, and I just want to encourage you to continue to be successful. But when I mentioned that today, he says, you know, not only do we want minorities in, we want them to be successful. I say they want to be successful, believe me. I know the struggle of being successful, and I know the good feeling of selling 4 stores and putting my money in the bank. So I want to encourage encourage you to continue to be active. Mr. Kirk has been active with you for as long as I've been in Congress. And I know that he'll continue to represent you well. But your challenges will always be, I think, because knowing what birthday I'm facing and knowing that all of my life there's been a challenge, sometimes they're a little different, but just stay focused and make sure that you continue to do what you're doing by reminding us here as lawmakers the support that you need on the various issues that come up. Because being an airport business now is soaring that won't stop. The world is getting smaller. Every airport is getting more business, and opportunity should grow. I just know that the DFW airport that's now about to build another tunnel will probably be the busiest in the United States, as it had been at one time, and I was teasing with it until Atlanta had the Olympics. But it's an economic engine wherever it is, and there's no reason to think that we should not share those economics. So thank you very much for what you do. I am familiar with the struggle, I'm familiar with the strategies, and I'm familiar with the money you can make. Thank you.
For all the members that have come, thank you so much for being here. I saw a number of congressional staffers here, and I'm not sure if they're here. Congressional staff, would you please raise your hand? All right, go ahead. All right, I know you're here. I saw some others here in the back there. Thank you again for being here. We're just going to mix and mingle. If other members come in, we will break and introduce them. Again, thanks everybody. Shelby, Darryl, anything else? Okay, Joe.
I want to remind everyone that tomorrow morning, as part of our activities, we will have several consultants. Nancy, Leslie, you can wave your hand. As our congressman has said to us, let's keep our lamp trimmed. One of the things that we have to do, we absolutely have to do, is to make sure we keep the predicate evidence fresh in the record. So tomorrow we're going to be taking about 2 to 3 hours, and we're going to ask those of you who have experienced discrimination, who have experienced some challenges, whether it's in the procurement process, to please sit down and tell us your stories so that we can enter those stories into the record. It's very, very important, not only from USDOT's perspective, but also from the congressional record, that we have the stories on record. So if you will, please consider that as part of our activities tomorrow. We have very professional consultants that will sit with you and walk you through an interview process to really get your stories on the record. So please be thinking about that as we go forward into tomorrow. I also want to take a few minutes to thank our sponsors, DFW, DIA, MWA, Westfield, Turner Construction, Oscar Lewis, if you'll raise your hand, with Next Gen, who's in the house, RDU, at last, Houston Airport System, Wayne County Airport Authority, ARN News, Airport News and Revenue, and the Atlanta Hearts for Airport. So again, without these sponsors, we would not be able to keep that. So again, as we go through tonight, let's make sure that we network and do business to business. We have a lot of our members who can do business with you, not just the airports, but with each other. And please make sure you spend a few minutes with the congressional members before they leave. Again, thank you.
I just want you to know we've been joined by another member of the Congressional Black Caucus who also serves on the Aviation Subcommittee of TNI, Andre Caucus from Indianapolis, and he has told me he's 100% behind what we want to do.
So, man, I don't have to say anything. I missed it. Like, you were on the phone.
I was on the phone.
Okay, he and I served on the CBC PAC board together. You guys have heard from Eddie Bernice Johnson, the Queen of Dallas.
Just say that, let's be clear.
Some say the Queen of Texas. But I want to thank you guys for what you do. Of course, you know I'm a huge supporter and an advocate. Too few minorities are in the aviation space. As someone who served not only on the Transportation Aviation Subcommittee, also served on the Economic Development Committee. And I think historically there has been an impulse or a tendency to only have minority representation at the symbolic and token level. But now we are delving more deeply. I think that ownership has become a growing issue, and the kind of advocacy that is necessary can only be brought about through coalition building with the Congressional Black Caucus and with the Hispanic Caucus and the other minority caucuses. You should be comforted in knowing that you have a friend and you have friends on Capitol Hill. So your advocacy and the results of your advocacy can only extend to the amount that you make the investment in speaking to us. So I want to thank you for allowing us to come out, and God bless. Thank
AMAC is very, very pleased to be a collaborative and strategic partner with AMAC in this industry day of today and tomorrow and Thursday. And so we want to make sure that the messaging goes out that impacts ACDBEs and DBEs throughout the country in all transit levels. I know we have a focus on aviation, but it is an issue that relates to the construction community in particular, all across all of the modes of construction. So we appreciate your support. They need to see and hear the voices, and so you being here is more important than you realize. So we look forward to you supporting us in all of our initiatives as well, and welcome you to our national conference, which will be in Las Vegas, Nevada this year, June 17th through the 19th. We're back to back, so just keep your bags packed and come on from Fort Lauderdale to Vegas. So thank you so much this evening. Appreciate it.
And we have one more. Ann McNeil of the Black Women's Contractors Association. Are you here? Can you come up and say a few words for us? She's been a fighter for a long time. Let's give her a better AMAC welcome.
Good evening. Okay, good evening. Good evening. Thank you. My name is Ann McNeil, and I'm the founder of the National Association of Black Women in Construction, celebrating 40 years in the construction industry this year. Also, one of the interns, if you will, from the time that Esther Lewis and a number of people started this organization in the Miami area, and the Florida area. So the forming of our organization, and I want to ditto what my friend Ms. Shealy just said, because what do we have in common? She and I both are African American women in the construction industry. And so being in this industry as a contractor, all of you out here know that retail concession gets all the play. Seldom do you hear in airports anything about where the real money is. Billions in construction. And I want to take this opportunity to extend an invitation to any and all of you to come to Florida, especially at the conference this summer in June at the AMAC conference, and look at all of the Florida airports. But not only the Florida airports, come to Miami and look at the $20 billion in construction and construction-related opportunities. So on behalf of the National Association of Black Women in Construction, thank you for this honor. I am Ann McNeil, the master builder, helping you to build a stronger and better life. Thank you.